before I hit the start button, but I didn't. I didn't go grab water first. So I'm gonna go grab water now while we wait for this to stabilize. And hey everybody, how's it going? How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? I hope everybody's doing good. I hope everybody's doing well. Stay hydrated. All right, I'll be right back with water. Enjoy the menu atmosphere. Hey there, gamers. What's up? Yeah, rooms. I don't know. I need to look. I need to look at what the rooms do. What do rooms do? I mean, I would assume it's Discord related stuff. Oh, ah, yeah, yeah. Everybody feeling good? Everybody feeling up for this? Okay, so what we're going to be doing here, I'm going to admit, I'm feeling a little bit gross. So I was looking at all of the stuff that we had on deck. I was just feeling a little bit gross. I'm like, I don't really want to do any of that other stuff. So instead, what we're going to do is we're going to do the hard quick run, So there's an achievement for doing hard quick run. There's a trophy for it. So I'm being selfish, but it's legitimately, it's going to be a nice challenge. Now, when I say nice challenge, I mean it's probably not going to actually be a challenge to get. The time limit that they give you in order to get the trophy is like 5.5 hours or something like that, and we'll be well under that, because for this, so anything goes with it. You don't need to start a fresh game from scratch. You can just go with just absolutely everything. So we've got maxed out health, we've got almost maxed out grip strength, we have all of the time trial items, and so we're just gonna cheese. We're gonna have the bonus damage cloak, we're gonna have the bonus damage mask, we're gonna have the queen's sword, we're gonna use the cloak of invisibility basically every place that it's useful, we're gonna use the harpoon of thunder everywhere that it's useful, all of that stuff. And yeah, so we're looking at probably 2 hours, 2.5, in that range is what we're looking at for this. Maybe even who knows? Maybe even faster. It's also yeah. I don't quite have the Dorman's sword yet. You'll see my coin count. It'll come up on the map once we're in. I think I'm at 20 or 30 coins somewhere in that neighborhood. And also, then, if we do this, if we manage to get this in time, that's also going to max out our grip strength. And I was right at the edge of being able to get up to the top of the temple. If I actually could do it, if I was really really tricky. There's 2 rest spots that that are available on the path up that you can use to just kind of give yourself that last little edge, that just little extra bit you might need to get there. But if you've got maxed out grip strength, then you can just make it. So, all right. There's only 3 recorded runs on speedrun.com. Tank can be top 4. Yeah, just submit it. Just submit it because. All right. So if we hit hard, then it'll ask us mirrored or original. I'm going to go original just to make navigation a little bit easier. We're going to skip all cutscenes as needed. And I'm also going to open my cheat sheet of Colossus order because I get super turned around. Yeah, the new loading icon's really cool. I mean, I liked the old one, just the circle, but the new one's pretty rad. All right, we should have, yeah, it's left us with everything proper equipped, so we're going to be riding the white shaman's horse, just because why not? It's a white horse. And we have the damage tabard and the damage mask already equipped. We should have, yeah, there we go, explosive arrows. Yeah, I think we want explosive arrows for most of what we're going to be doing. Now, one of the unfortunate things. Oh, skip cutscenes. Skippable cutscene. One of the unfortunate things with the arrows and the harpoon is that you can't actually take a sigil all the way down to 0 with them. You can get them down to 1, but not 0. So no matter what you do, you still got to get up to the sigil and hit it at least once. So it's pretty redundant when we already have, you know, the Queen's Sword, since we're going to be able to basically one-shot almost every sigil. But, you know, that's how it be. Why was I firing regular arrows? Whatever. Oh no, did I just jump off? I didn't. It just looked like I did in the cutscene. Really, I should have just tried to get up without. I shouldn't need to trip him in the first place. Come on, you can go around the corner. There we go. Such a great start. SGDQ submission started. Some important dates have now been posted. Oh, important dates have now been posted. Phase 1, Phase 2, attendee registration, game submissions. Okay, game submissions March 3rd through March 11th. Games list posted April 4th. So submissions aren't quite open yet, but that's actually good to know because I'm gonna be traveling with that, so I gotta be ready. Okay.
Abro.
Where are you? Come on. I've got Amy down to sub 50 reliably, sub 45 on a lucky day. Like, actually, I think my best time is 45:15. So, but reliably sub 50. Your way, I mean my way, but poorly. Man, the hubris of man. I don't know why I was using this arrows there. Okay, I do. It's because I love the exploding arrows so much, even if they're unhealthy for me. We're not setting any world records here. not gonna go for swag. I had it. I had it too. Come on. No! That's twice. I was like right on the line. Come on, get your footing. That's not a hit. Come on, Wander. All of these seconds are adding up. Suboptimal. Suboptimal. So I keep trying the swag kill on Quadratus and Bassaran, and I landed about 1 out of 5 times, and the other 4 times I go flying off the Colossus entirely and need to get back up. So it's like, all right. Did somebody actually try to make this into a movie? Yes. So there's a couple script versions that have been done. I read the second of 3. I have a copy of the second of 3 script revisions or script versions that were kind of out there. I haven't read the most recent one, but I don't think it's too much different than the one that I read, or at least it's broadly similar. It is at the very least closer to when the second script came out than it is to the modern day. Like, it's seriously, like, the whole thing's been stuck in development hell for ages and ages. And right, we're going to Gaius. The sword, they didn't really change the look of the primary sword. It's just that we're using the Queen's sword. So anything that looks kind of decidedly different about aggro or Wander's equipment is probably because I'm wearing time trial equipment. So, like, the Queen's sword you get from the time trials, from completing all of them. The Cursed Wander skin I'm also using, as well as one of the cloaks and a mask. So. Oh man, Gundad. Yeah, the Gundad meme was pretty good. That's not my dad, that's a gun. No, that gun is your dad. Guns don't conduct symphonies, people conduct symphonies. That go moment in the script it's one of those things where it's incredibly hilarious in context. Unfortunately, it just hasn't quite fully translated into a really, really comprehensible meme. Like there's not a lot of times where it really actually even makes sense as a meme, which is unfortunate because it'd be great if it did. Like if we could actually, like I do want to work out a really solid meme from that abysmal script. It turns out that I'm actually incredibly bad at the sword launch on the PS4 copy. I tried it about 20 times and got it 0 attempts. So come on. He rotated the direction I wasn't anticipating. But I maybe should have gone over to, it's kind of the same difference when I go over to the left arm, destroy, and shit like that. Oh sure, now you hold your arm straight now that I don't really need to drop. Alright, maybe I need to drop. There we go. Well, those are due for time trial, but they're going super great. The Hidden Garden's in this version. The Hidden Garden's always been in there. Why am I suddenly... No, that's too far. That's too far.
Yeah.
That's too far. You're going too far, Dan. You're looking at chat, not at where you're supposed to be going. What was really neat, actually, so about the cut Colossi, is it was actually like I appreciated this, that in an interview prior to the PS4 release coming out, they were talking with Ueda. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. The director of the original version. You know, they were talking. It's like, oh, do you think they'll put any? Or it's like, are you going to put any of the cut Colossi back in? And he was basically just like, no, why would we? The game has been balanced around 16 Colossus. It has been paced around 16 Colossus, and he said that it's like it's currently balanced and paced for how many Colossi there are. And all of the ones that were cut for a reason, so why would we? And I respect that. I like that. Actually, it's like, no, we cut things, like everything that was cut for a reason. And we're not just holding out on you. We gotta do the shoulders. Alright, this one's actually gonna be easier this way. No, why are you looking that direction? Phaedra, don't look over here. You should be almost in position. Why are you coming over here? Okay, fine. I guess if you're gonna come over here, you're gonna come over here. There's nothing I can do about it, so I might as well just shoot you. There we go. Where are you going? far enough. There we go. It's interesting how the between Colossi cutscenes are split, are occasionally split. Sometimes they're actually two different cutscenes. So there will be one that is from Wander landing to the camera. So like then the Colossus explodes, and then it ends as the camera is panning up to Dorman's skylight, and then the second cutscene starts when Dorman starts talking, saying, "Your next target is." But then sometimes, like that last one, it's like, okay, if you skip once, it skips the entire thing. Do any of you see the game coming out that's offering a whole Bitcoin to anyone who beats it first? No, I didn't. That sounds awful. I would actually be kind of amazed if they weren't hiding a crypto miner in it. Like at that point, they've got to be like they're stealing something from you. we're putting the corn industry on the blockchain. So I discovered by accident that if you are busy switching weapons while Avion is coming down, you can't interrupt out of the putting away animation and jump and or grab. So in that condition, I hope you enjoy watching Wander just like fly through the air. Cause yeah, he gets bamfed like he got hit by a truck. It's actually really funny. Oh, dang it. I corrected one number, but not the other number.
Abro. Yeah.
I love that joke about about needing to type out Kevin Smith's entire Twitter history. Oh, not only is Ready Player One not accurate to 80s culture, it's not even like limited to 80s culture. It's amazing. Classic 80s TV show Firefly, you know. Classic 80s figure Will Wheaton from classic 80s TV show Star Trek The Next Generation. Alright, so I was doing a bit of playing around on this guy already. I still can't reliably get the quick jump from his hand up, but I did figure out that the best way of getting down is just to like jump, because once you've got a decent amount of hit points, the fall damage is negligible. Wait, how did I get? Really? You went for a fist slam first? Just way to just harsh my buzz, Barbara. You hate me. Side. Frickin' mirror mode. Mirror mode's screwing me up. There we go. I should have just done a lunging stab onto the hand. Should have just gone for it. Just ended in style.
Abro.
Alright, I'm gonna go ham with this one, because you can one cycle this one, and the punishment for failure is that you have to do it in 2 cycles like they want you to. So you might as well just YOLO it. I mean, if you land the lunge, you land the lunge. If you don't land the lunge, Hydrus immediately goes underwater anyway, and you have to do another cycle. So you might as well take the shot at the lunge. Yeah, those of you talking about Gamergate, like even those of us who found ourselves in or near to the center, I don't think any of us really seriously claimed that it was you know, the origin of this stuff. Like, it's always been bubbling under, but Gamergate in and of itself was a crystallizing moment for a lot of things that had already existed, and in particular it brought together a number of previously unconnected or at best like extremely loosely affiliated groups. So, you know, like the clearest example of that would be bringing like the right-wing pundit sphere, you know, InfoWars and Breitbart and whatnot, bringing them side by side with the like getting them side by side with other sort of cesspools like the Chris Chan harassment and whatnot. You know, really getting the actual goddamn neo-Nazis integrated into various communities and groups and whatnot. Oh man, I preemptively jumped off arrows back because I'm used to her just like, nah, I'm not gonna go through that gate. I'm not gonna go through it. And then this time it's like I jumped off and she's just like straight down the path. It's like a horse. Oh, I missed. Fine. That does not bode well for the rest of this. If I'm gonna be missing the mark on those jumps. Got that one though. Alright, here's the hard one. So the next phase triggers when you get up to this point, but you got come on, no, all right. So basically you've got to make that lunge attack and land before Hydrus dips, like does the head dip. And it's a really, really narrow window of success. But if you screw it up, if you don't get it, then nothing really substantially I mean, obviously it's way faster if you can do it all in one pass, but it's way faster if you can do it all in one pass, but it doesn't substantially change the fight. Like, it's not going to cost you time in and above what the boss would normally take. I mean, unless you die, which is possible. I mean, I came pretty close to dying, but I also held on a lot longer than I really should have. I mean, so if you're doing this boss on time attack, if you can do it in 2 passes, you're golden. If you could do it in 1, you're gonna just like blow the time away. But you've got more than enough time to do it in actually like 3. A surprisingly easy thing to screw up on this fight is actually missing the tail. If you're trying too hard to track the boss, you can end up, like, if you follow the head too far, then the tail will actually come up behind you and you can't grab it.
Abro!
Come on. All right. Kuramori. Kumamori? Kuramori. Yeah, I had it right the first time. Kuramori is actually really fun on the YOLO strats. On the don't give a crap Queen's Sword damage boosted out the wazoo. It's really fun. I think Subnautica's protagonist has gender in as far as they have gendered voice pack. Like, basically the grunts and, kind of noises and whatnot are decidedly masculine. Is faster to swim, but we got plenty of time. What are we at, actually? We're at... I can't tell. I think I need to do a manual save to see my time. No, I shouldn't. I swear there's somewhere else that I can see it. Alright, actually want normal arrows for this, specifically because they fire faster, they fly faster, and yeah, so a bunch of reasons actually. Yeah, we got lots of time. And done. you can actually get that even faster. Like, since you've got the if you remember, which I never do, if you remember to pull out your sword before you jump, you can use the parachute to like actually get yourself good and lined up over Kuramori's belly, and so you can get a lunging stab for the first drop, like guaranteed. And then rather than needing to position onto its belly.
Oh, no. Abro. Abro.
The mask boosts my damage, as does the cloak. So the mask and cloak both boost my damage. So on hard, Colossi have substantially increased health, like really, really substantially. So like the time attack on Kuramori, which you have to do without any fun upgrades and whatnot, it pretty much takes 3 cycles, unless you get like really lucky, because each sigil takes 4 full power stabs in order to take out. So you can get off about 3 to 4 if you're really lucky. So like you can do it in 2. You can do it in 2, but plan on doing it in 3. Kind of going the wrong way, but all right, where are those trees? There are those trees. I am on the wrong ridge. I am still on the wrong ridge. Really just gotta like go straight to the shrine, straight to that shrine, and then cut west, because otherwise you gotta work around all of those bluffs. The remake added the only things that have been added are a treasure hunt for 97 gold coins, and if you get all of them, then you get a new sword that is kind of cool and different, but no better than any of the other swords. Like it's basically the Queen's sword with a twist. So Queen's sword, except your health doesn't regenerate. Come on, get back on. No. Turning wrong. Come on. There we go. Pivot ever so slightly to get to me. There we go. Come on, Geyser. Come on. Come on, Geyser. Go, Geyser. There we go. Yeah, run away, aggro. Useless piece of junk. It's not a place I really super want to be. Ah, it worked anyway. It worked out good. It worked out good. It all worked out. We're fine. We're all fine here. Everything's fine. We got between the spikes. That's what counts. We're not going to be brave. We're not going to be flashy. We're just going to get our feet planted and come on, plant your feet. Plant your feet. And feet planted, planted, and win.
Abro. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, come on. God damn it, aggro. Stuck in a corner.
Abro. 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 Abro.
Yeah, and just come halfway here and then stop. I hate you, horse. I hate you.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I figured out, or I shouldn't say I figured out. I finally learned that the trick to Bassaron is that if you're on aggro, Bassaron will chase you a lot more aggressively than if you're on foot. If you're on foot, they'll just shoot at you. Well, if you're on aggro, they'll shoot and pursue. So the key to doing the fight quickly is to get onto aggro, ride out, kind of right past the first geyser, and then just sort of do circles kind of a little bit past it until Bassaron's over top, and then you just go kind of try to keep it pivoted in spot until the geyser tips it over. Oh, you did that to yourself. I was not steering that direction. And fetching Clover out from underneath my desk. Oh, where are we? Yeah. Alright, we're... Wait. Are we... No, this is right. This is right. Shimmy your eyes. Wait, how did that not? I got both animations. That was weird. Did not cut that corner where I thought I did. Oh, faster, faster. So much trouble making this shot. faster, faster aggro, faster. Swaying under my lash. That's dirge. That was dirge. No, you gotta do it twice. You can't even like it's impossible to get dirge in one cycle, because the moment, like literally, like the moment that you break a sigil, dirge starts submerging. Oh, Tolkien's Orcs, they already got a rewrite. It's a Russian book called the One Ring Bearer, the Last Ring Bearer. It's not particularly good. As a book, like it's as a book, it's a far better concept than an actual novel. But I mean, it's an interesting concept. Who are we headed to? Slosia. Dylan, there's a Russian novel called The Last Ring Bearer that is the events of Lord of the Rings told from the perspective of the orcs. And sort of its basic conceit is that the Tolkien version of the story is entirely propaganda. Remember, there is no lake, yes, but I have a parachute now, so I'm actually going to aim towards the temple side of things and see if I can do the thing where you just like float right on in. Like a boss. But then you still gotta run all the way. I mean, well, it wouldn't matter when it triggered, because the triggers all teleport you anyway. Missed it. I was like, okay, get ready for the dodge roll. Get ready. It's sooner than you think. There we go. I got that one. Come on, pick it up. Pick it up. Oh, pick it up. Pick it up. Well, now you gotta wait to get up because you got yourself knocked out. Come on. Now I can't see anything, and I definitely didn't get it anyway, so... There we go. Alright. Get yourself a pot at, that's fine. Do that all you want. Oof. Oof. Bad timing, Wander. Bad timing. Bad timing. Let's see if I can get this shot. I probably can't. Pretty close. Almost got it. No. Stab, man. Stab. Alright. There we go. it on. Wait. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah!
I just had a moment of
Yeah! Yeah! Yeah!
total self-doubt. But for this one, I think what we're going to want to do
Yeah!
is we'll get it all prepared once we're over on the other side. We can put our we can't put it away while we're hanging like this. All right, we're going to want. Now, in theory, I haven't tested this. I mean, it should be fine either way, but in theory... Oh, wait, this might screw up. You know what? No, I don't want to test that cloak of force. It's not worth the risk. So I was just thinking that it's like, okay, if you're wearing the cloak of deception, you shouldn't have to worry about Pelagia like turning quite as much when you're in the water. But then I got super worried that it would have another effect in that it might prevent Pelagia from aggroing up onto the platforms, which is kind of what you need so you can actually finish the fight. So I'll test that on my own time. We do a lot of damage.
aggro. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. All right. Phalanx time. Praying for it to praying we only need to do it twice. Only need to go up twice and fall off 0 times. Actually, we'll. I'm debating intentionally falling off. It's probably. I haven't really tested them against each other because my times on Phalanx are so wildly varied. I'm not sure if it's better to intentionally jump off in between sigils and then go back up. So if you fall off before Phalanx closes its the hoods over its sigils, then crap. No, stuck in the trees. Stuck in the trees. Stuck in the trees.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
If you close them before it closes, if you jump off or fall off before the hoods close, then Phalanx doesn't burrow. So if you're super tight and super lucky, then, well, I should say super lucky, a little bit lucky. If you're super tight and a little bit lucky, you can do the boss in 2 passes, because you can get 2 shots in, or like, so you can kill the first 2 shots, get back to the second, hit it at least once. If you're super lucky, or just like really, really tight with your timing, you can get it a second time. You can get it twice. You can get 2 hits on the second and actually take out 2 sigils in 1 pass, but it's really hard, and I've only pulled it off like once. But then otherwise, like, basically you get 1.5, and then you try to get 1.5 the second time around as well, but a lot of times it screws up. A lot of times you just end up doing 3 regardless. Regular arrows, fire like now, and fire like now, and we want aggro to go through. Come on, aggro, come on. At least pretend to turn. Phalanx is going that way around the rock, so we're going to head off this angle. Alright, so when Phalanx actually travels slower than it feels like during this segment, but unfortunately managing aggro's speed is really difficult. Wants to go left today. to Phalanx's wings, you want to go up quickly, but you want to make sure that you're staying towards the middle. Like, you want to navigate yourself towards the middle. You want to navigate yourself towards the middle of the wing, because if you end up latched onto the edge, it's really, really rough. Probably for the best, actually, I don't think. Alright, let's... Don't think she's gonna burrow. I might be wrong. But, nope, she's not gonna burrow. So that was... Falling off there was actually probably for the best, because I wasn't gonna make it a third in time. And now I don't need to wait for her to come out, we just need to catch up to her. Which, she's all the way around the pillar already. So what I was saying, if you're on the edge of the wing, because of how tightly spaced the perpendicular lines are, nope. Because of how tightly spaced the perpendicular lines are, it is an absolute nightmare trying to get wander back up properly onto the wing if he's caught onto the edge. Oh no! Oh! Falling off of things because of those slow tipping holes is like the worst, because they're like, you see it coming, it happens in just like such slow motion, there's nothing you can do about it. It's just like, Wander, please, for my sake, grab something. Just get a grip. Just anything, please. Alright, 2 passes and 0 fall-offs. That's pretty good. I mean, that's half decent.
Abro!
Right.
Yeah! 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 Yeah!
The downward stab is in the Region 2 version of the game. So the PAL, if you have the PAL version of the PS2 Shadow of the Colossus, it has the downward stab. It's not in the NTSC version. But then it's in all other versions. So it's in the PAL version of the PS2. It's in the PS3 version and the PS4. Though that said, I might be, actually now that I think about it, I might be wrong. And it is in the NTSC version, it just requires a different button combination. There are 3 Colossi left. Alright, will aggro get all the way to the underground lake before... Alright, we got her to the underground lake. Half the time she gets hung up on something in the cave and I just, like, ditch her early. Can I steer? Okay, yeah, all right. It is in the NTS, so the difference, so the downward stab is in the NTSC version, but it requires holding R1 and then attacking while you're in the air, whereas the PAL version goes to what all other versions have used, which is just square while you're in the air. Just attacking while you're falling will automatically go into the downward stab. So that's why it's a different attack. It's basically a hidden move, and it's not one that you're likely to just happen into. So it might have been in the manual. I have the original manual, just actually no, let's not use exploding arrows just in case we screw up and miss. We don't want to blow ourselves. Oh, that sucked. Oh, come on. Yesterday I missed this jump 4 times in a row. It was really bad. Alright, I'm gonna get that first slam in. glitch out, please. Fine. I have no idea why Dorman's giving me advice. We're actually making decent time even with the AI button now. No, come on, jump, jump, man, jump, jump, jump for your life. Literally, you can. I did recently get stun locked in the corner again. Are we gonna get some fun? Are we gonna get corner locked? We might, we might die here. It looks like it. Unless he gets bored, we're gonna lose, and we're gonna have to redo this whole fight all over again. Yeah. Well, that really blows. Well, and that also killed a second achievement that I was hoping to get, which was the which was the beat the game without dying one. So this is always where if I'm gonna screw up, it's gonna be here, specifically because of that. Like, that is the only place in this game that I still die. Purely because, as you see, like, you just kind of get stuck in a corner that you can't get out of, and ain't nothing you can do about it. Just... Okay, hey, game, maybe stop getting really funky glitchy with my grip on that. See, the whole kind of thing with the fight is that even though, like, so Zenobia can hit you before you can actually, like, move again, but everywhere else you're probably going to get thrown behind something or into one of these trenches, and so you get knocked around. It costs you some time, but you ultimately get, you know, kind of thrown to safety in a weird way. But that one specific spot by the ladder, well, I mean, there's a couple other spots, but that's the one that's most likely to happen in, because it's most likely to happen while you're going for the ladder. All right, let's not screw up the stab this time, or at the very least, if we screw up the stab, let's land somewhere where we can recover without needing to. See, that's not that. No, that was. Really? That didn't connect? Fine. Whatever. The old-fashioned way. Ugh. Ugh. I can't believe I had to do that fight for real. That fight, well, okay, so that fight both lends itself to YOLO and doesn't. It punishes YOLO, but if, like, since it ends up adding so much time to ride all the way back, it's, it kind of heavily incentivizes YOLO. How much cool stuff can you get? You get a whole bunch of cool stuff, but you can only have, okay, so all of the weapons you can have equipped simultaneously because they, you just cycle through them. So I've only got 2 of the 4 swords equipped. So like you can't unequip the primary sword. But I have 3 of the 5 swords that are in the game. So one of them is a like pre-order bonus DLC item. It's about par with the Sword of the Sun. So there's no reason to care about not having it. And so of the 2 swords that I don't have Dorman's sword, and I don't have the DLC sword or the pre-order sword. Then I have all of the ranged weapons, and I think I have them all. No, I don't have all of them equipped. So there's regular arrows, whistle arrows, spark arrows, which are dynamite, and the whatever the javelins, and the javelins, and so you can have all 4 of them equipped. Like you just cycle through them. Then you can have 1 mask and 1 cape equipped at a time, and I think there's 3 or 4 different masks and 3 or 4 different capes. And then the parachute. And Wander's skin. and I think 3 skins for aggro. So someone was saying, I think Vex was saying earlier that the hard mode any percent was like 3 hours. Well, we're gonna come in way under that. I mean, even if we kind of take like the max time on these next 2 bosses, they're only 10 minutes. No, I've never done a video on 50 Shades. I'm working on one right now. That is tentatively titled A Lukewarm Defense of 50 Shades, the movie. That's the wrong direction. Oh yeah. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. And then I say it's like that. It's 3 hours. If it's 3 hours, it has to be. I was gonna say that, like, yeah, if it's 3 hours, it has to be like new game, not new game plus, because we're way under that, and we've screwed up like so much. Man, why am I flying at just like weird angles? Just oh crap. Oh. Knocked myself out, and that sucks because I actually had a really good angle on. Oh wait, I got one. Come on. Hold. Ow. feet. Get your feet. Get your feet. I double tapped. There we go. Standing so close to me. What are you doing? Why are you moving the way that you're moving? There we go. Gonna grab the grass instead. Good, Wander. Good. Good boy. Alright. Let's get a slam. Alright. And now... Alright. Well, that's gonna knock me out, so that's a no-go. It's gonna be a stomp. Come on. Stomps? Really? Really? Stomps? You're gonna... Oh, come on. Oh, you're gonna charge. You're gonna do a full-on walking charge. Alright. Oh. Not gonna grab. Alright. Alright. I see how it is. Come on, just... Why are you charging? Why are you doing a stomping charge? Oh. Charge forward. Okay. Good stuff. Good stuff. Slam. Slam. Nope. Slam. God damn it, Wander. Alright. Really? Really? See, look, he's even doing the handshake. It's registering. He's registering that I grabbed. But it's not actually grabbing. I hate this part of the fight so much. Because it's like you have to be in the air. There we go. I just need a fragment of a stab even. Come on. Alright, Aggro, time for you to die. And by die, I mean fall down and, like, hurt your leg. Well, Ender's Game, and particularly its follow-ups, Xenocide and Speaker for the Dead and Xenocide in that order, are kind of interesting. Like, Orson Scott Card's personal views, and particularly like his his direct political activity, often catches people off guard, specifically because of the themes of Speaker for the Dead and Xenocide, and how they sort of respond to a lot of the things that are in Ender's Game, and even Ender's Game in its own way is fairly, like, reasonably progressive. I mean, though you do have to, like, filter it through the fact that it was, written in the 80s. That's an issue. It is still a product of its time, even if it appears on the surface to at least be, like, reasonably progressive for its time. So that's the thing, that it's like, you read Speaker for the Dead and you read Xenocide, and then you find out that, like, Orson Scott Card is a huge piece of crap, and you're just like, wait a second, that Orson Scott Card, the guy who wrote Xenocide, the guy who wrote Speaker for the Dead, is he familiar with his own writing? No. Okay. All right. You're not gonna cooperate. This moment is always kind of undercut by the fact that like aggro can't slow down. In time to aggro can't slow down in time to make the moment like work.
Yeah.
Come on. Speed up. Speed up. The thing that gets me about this mask, like this mask in specific, is that it looks a lot like one of the masks from Star Trek: The Next Generation episode titled Masks, and that's really funny to me because it's a really funny looking mask in the show. So when I look at Wander wearing this, I see Picard wearing a really stupid clay mask. Yeah, in the script he's being, Wander's being chased by the priests. So like Iman and everybody else has like caught up to him, and that's why he does the like running jump across. Is to get away, no, come on, do the jump, man, jump. That's why he like spurs aggro on and they jump across the gap and then everything collapses and so Iman can't come across. So the TNG episode titled it's titled Masks. It's a season 7 episode, 6 or 7. I think I'm pretty sure it's 7. Okay. Also, real quick, items, cloak of deception, very important for this fight. Did I talk about that stupid mask episode from TNG with Brent Spiner doing like too many characters? I tweeted about it a whole bunch when I was rewatching TNG. Like it definitely got a prime spot during my TNG rewatch on Twitter. Actually, what time are we at? You know what? We got time. I'm gonna take a detour. A very, very brief detour. I'm gonna take a brief detour in the correct direction. Not recommended for an actual speed run. Going and picking up that coin is not a speed strat. Is Voyager worth watching? No, not really. Not really. Voyager is maybe worth watching a highlights playlist, which is about 20 or 30 episodes, but is not worth a dedicated, focused, complete rewatch. It is better than Enterprise, yes. There we go. All right. What are the good and bad parts of TNG? I can only think. I don't know. If you look up any given best of TNG, like top 10 list, it's gonna give you, like, if you look at a few of them, getting a good cross section will give you will give you a pretty decent idea of like what are actually like the good episodes. I'm a bit of a defender of season 1. Don't get me wrong, season 1's lows are like low. You know, season 1's lows are low, and it is deeply like directly and intentionally repetitive of the original series. Like, there's a number of episodes that are like not just similar to TOS episodes, but are like literally the Enterprise crew coming across things that Gene Roddenberry really liked from the original series. And yeah, but at the same time, the cinematography and lighting and framing and there's something to the season 1 episodes that doesn't show up anywhere else in the show, and it's kind of special in that regard. And yeah, like season 1 is not quite as dreadful as people make it sound. It's just that it's mostly boring. Like, when it's bad, it's mostly boring, and when it's good, it's just kind of okay. Like, it's just kind of you know, it's all right. It's all right. So ultimately, kind of the problem with season 1 and 2 is that the high points of season 1 and 2 are only so-so, well, the low points are like really low. And you can't actually skip the rest of this, so now we just wait. I'm gonna pull my mic closer, and also turn this down because this is a lot of exploding for a while. Yeah, the Ferengi, like, it should say that the Ferengi were going to sub for the Klingons, but rather that they were going to fill the same kind of antagonistic role. So one of the things that they started TNG with, like, you know, that Worf was this character, that it's like, oh, we have a Klingon, not just on the ship, but on the bridge, and that was supposed to be, that was in Roddenberry's mind, like, a sign of, like, the big changes from the original series to the present. Even though the Klingon were not, you know, stated to be part of the Federation, the whole thing was it's like, oh, Klingons and the Federation are now on, like, you know, they're trade partners, you know, they're loose allies. Trade partners is actually probably a better way of framing it, that it's like, okay, well, they're trade partners, they're on friendly terms, and like, look, Klingons will even join the Federation now. And so the Ferengi, as a new introduction, were, in Roddenberry's mind, going to be the new Klingons. They were going to be sort of the primary antagonistic third party. Okay, so someone who wanted someone wanted an explanation of what happens at the end, like an explanation of the ending? If you want an explanation of the ending, put your hand up. Put your hand up and tell me where you want me to start explaining from. All right, I'll just start from wherever I want. Okay, so Wander comes to the Forbidden Land and petitions Dorman to resurrect Mono. But Dorman warns Wander of two things. One is that there will be a heavy price to pay, and two is that such a thing cannot actually truly be done, because that is the rule of mortals. So Wander sets about his task anyway and slays the Colossi that hold Dorman's power fragmented, allowing Dorman to reassemble. And so Dorman momentarily, like, basically possesses Wander's body. Dorman possesses Wander's body and you know, fights off Iman. Now, one of the important small details that's kind of easy to miss is that in the final cutscene, the feminine component to Dorman's collective voice is absent. And so what has happened is that the entity known as Dorman has split. The feminine half now inhabits Mono's body, while the masculine half takes over Wander's body. And then the shaman Iman uses the sword to cast a binding spell over the temple. Now, the binding spell is not as powerful as the Colossi. It can't contain Dorman forever, but what it does do is it essentially restrains Dorman to a degree, the masculine Dorman. And so Wander, being the avatar of possessed Dorman, is sucked into the binding spell and is then turned into a baby. And so so the masculine portion of Dorman is then trapped into a cycle of reincarnation of horned boys, which ultimately leads to the events in the first game, Ico, where the feminine Dorman has been operating as a queen slash witch slash whatever for unknown period of time, and she has been essentially trying to reassemble, like Dorman has been trying to reassemble by leeching power out of the sacrifices of the horned boys, and also perpetually regenerating herself through the kidnapped girls. Please explain the part where the horse bodies the rocks. Well, the horse falls down, and a bunch of rocks land on it, but it's okay. The Last Guardian connects much more lightly in that the boy in Last Guardian is implied to, so that at the end of Ico, Ico manages to break the curse, and Ico and Oh, how am I suddenly forgetting her name? Yorda. Aiko and Yorda, basically Adam and Eve, the Forbidden Land, and then, 10,000 years later, one of their descendants is the boy in The Last Guardian. This is a combination of actual text, like this is light conjecture based on actual text, and the thematic similarities between the games, like both the thematic and aesthetic similarities between the games. Yorda was the queen's next body. The queen is closer. Yeah, would you call the queen evil or just incomprehensible? See, this is kind of how it all ties together. Is that one of the, and I talked about this in my themes of Shadow of the Colossus video, is that one of the sort of main things that you're seeing in Shadow of the Colossus is that Wander's conflict, or like the tragedy of Wander, is in many ways that he does not appreciate the scope of the things that he's tied up in. That he's dealing with these ancient colossi, with this, immortal being, and with a centuries old religion, and he's chafing against those. But he doesn't appreciate the scope of the stage that he's playing on, and so in that context, the actions of the queen are, to us, immoral. To us, they are disruptive. But to the queen, who is a potentially immortal being, like, so long as she maintains her cycles, she will live forever, and may even reassemble back into whatever. From that point of view, it's more just like her motives exist on a scale that is beyond ours, even if it, like, maybe actually probably needs to stop. And sort of the implication of Aiko is that the cycle itself was as much a part of the problem as anything else, or had become at some point part of the problem. So that essay that talked about Dorman's theology, I haven't been able to re-find it in years. I have been searching for it. I have been looking for it, but I cannot for the life of me figure out the right phrase or keyword to actually bring it up among the literally, like, hundreds and hundreds of other just articles about Shadow of the Colossus. I really wish I could find that specific one. How do Mono and Aggro reach the hidden garden if they can't climb, much less with an injured leg carrying a baby? Okay, so the big climb, which we will probably be able to do here once we get back into I don't know, what'll it be, like new game 4 plus, is that you only need to, like, so as Wander, you only need to get up to that platform that they walk out onto. So the spiral ramp inside the shrine goes up to a door that's closed, but that door opens during the closing cutscene because Iman and the soldiers leave through it, and they leave it open when they run away. There we go, Speed Demon Trophy, got it. They leave it open, and so Aggro and Mono just walk up the ramp and out onto the platform, and then up the rest of the ramp into the secret garden. So for Wander, however, it's a huge climb from the bottom of the shrine up to that platform. Hey, so there we go. That was by the clock. Only, or wait, start new game, hard, all Colossi defeated. Oh yeah, because we just played on hard plus. So that was in-game clock, only 2:08. Nice. And yes, 16. That's the one we're looking for. R plus 3. And let's go. You know what? There's actually a bunch of stuff. There's a bunch of art that I need to unlock on easy, and I'm pretty sure I've unlocked, because I've got all of the time trials on normal. I've got all the time trials on hard, so we can start an easy world. So there you can see we're actually flying past the ramp right now on the left, and there's the door. So we just need to get up to here in the climb. If Dorman's Anima and Animus are split into the Queen and the Horned Boys, why don't they achieve apotheosis some other way? Or does it never say? It never says. I mean, to use the white coat. Wait, I got another item? What did I get? What's the white coat? I think it's referring to the white aggro coat. Is there an actual point-to-mirrored mode, or is it just a cute gimmick? It was actually a really fun alternate challenge. Like, it changed a lot of little things about the way that I approached the game and the things that I noticed. So playing on mirrored mode was just a really cool way to keep the game, like a really cool, really simple way to keep the game feeling just fresh for people who you know, are really familiar with it. And especially after playing it like a lot in a very short span of time, it was really good to then like switch over to mirrored mode, even though like trying to navigate through the western canyons, the northwest canyons, trying to navigate through them on mirrored mode like literally gave me a headache. Like my left eye started aching. I've been working on the coins. I've been slowly chipping away at the coins. There's a lot of them. I don't I don't even have half of them yet, but I mean that was actually technically my fourth, because that save file I forked off of a different save file that had 15 Colossus down, so all of them except for Malice, and I was on my way to fight Malice. Should I take? Yeah, I'm gonna take a break. I am gonna use the break just because I'm. Alright, so this is the first rest area. It's pretty close to the ground, all things told, but you're still getting a, reasonable amount of grip left. Like, it does work out to a net benefit. Sorry if I go a little quiet. This climb is very much a endurance challenge. You kind of need to focus purely because small inefficiencies end up being the thing that kill you. Thank God they put that lower lip. There's that lower lip there. There are a bunch of. Wait, did I already say this? That there's a bunch of butthole clenching transitions in this climb. You know what? I think I have enough that I can just go for the top. I don't need to stop and take a break on. So there's the second rest area there. But it's really, really so you need to be able to get to at least here, and then you parachute over, and then it's really, really challenging to get back. And as you can see, like, if you can even get there, like, you're so close to the top. Whee! All right, we did it. Let's go all the way up. I do really wish that Wander had a walk that wasn't a sneak. Alright, there's a whole bunch of fruit up here, and one of them is poison, and I don't want to take it. So I'm not going to eat any of these fruit, because I don't know which one's which. I think it's the apple. Are they all bad? I've only made it up here once on the PS2 version, and that was years and years ago. I really don't, like, I didn't bother coming up on the PS3 version. I just never got around to, like, getting all of the grip upgrades. And there's our secret garden coin. There are... Okay, so I'm at 31 out of 91, so I've got 60 coins to go. There's usually about 3 around every Colossus arena, and then just lots of other ones everywhere. Hey, Amy, leave those alone. No, Amy, don't chew on those cable ties. Here, Amy, come around here and meow for everybody. Come over here. Come around to this side. Oh, not paying attention. All right, one sec. Amy's gonna start getting all over these wires if I don't. All right, so Shadow of the Colossus actually has a secret mini game. It has a desert bus for hope. It has a desert bus simulator mini game. Apparently, the top of the temple above the secret garden is modeled and textured on early builds of the original PS2 version, but not on release versions. Interesting. Oh, so my 50 Shades episode that I'm working on. So the lukewarm defense of 50 Shades, the movie. There's a couple sort of there's sort of two theses that I'm working into it, and the first is that the movie, objectively speaking, or I shouldn't say objectively speaking, the movie actually contains a lot more artistry and artistic effort than it is given credit for. Now, the end result is not in fact the worst thing ever, but is actually merely and so a couple of the things that I want to be going through in doing that is actually highlighting the many ways that the movie improves on the source material, the many things that the screenwriter and the director sort of tried to do, get into like the conflicts that they wound up having with E.L. James about the adaptation, and really kind of looking at like the sort of fragments of their vision that they had left, or that are sort of left in the movie as it is. And so like basically what they wanted to do is they wanted to make a really kind of like trippy what's sort of they wanted to make like a really trippy sort of erotic thriller. Like, you know, you watch the one of the running jokes when the trailers first came out is, you know, so actually I guess even before the trailers came out, when they were making the movie, everyone was just like, oh man, they should make it as a horror movie instead, you know, because you know, hashtag problematic. And then the first trailer came out, and people, like myself included, were like, holy crap, why is this trailer cut like this is a horror movie? And the thing is that's kind of the direction that they wanted to take it. Not necessarily like full-on horror movie, like it wasn't going to be like a serial killer movie, but they wanted it to be like, you know, a psychosexual, you know, this trippy, erotic thriller. You know, it wasn't going to be a romance. It was going to be a thriller, because it really is, you know, like you look at the source material, and if you're honest about it, it's not a romance. Like if you strip out Anna's running commentary, like her internal monologue that's like, oh my god, I'm so falling for this guy. This is so romantic. This is the most romantic thing ever. I just want this romance to really like bloom into something. And the moment you take that out and you just kind of look at it, you're like, this is really more. This is, you know, kind of scary. Like, scary can still be sexy, you know, like, you know, so they were going to put it more into the vein of like Sliver or Body Heat or, oh dang it, that one with Michael Douglas, you know, the famous one, Sharon Stone crossing her legs one. You know, they were going to put it into that realm where it's like, all right, you know, it's still a hot and sexy movie, but it's also kind of scary and, you know, tense and, you know, more than being like romantic. Like it can still have those things. It can still be a Valentine's movie, but it's more like, you know, it's Valentine's meets Halloween, kinda. And you know, that's the direction that they wanted to take it, and James put her foot down and kind of refused. But so you still get like fragments of that, and there were a lot of conflicts, and obviously a lot of things in it, like, you know, Sam. How am I forgetting her name? Sam. It's hyphenated. Something Johnson. She was still the director. She was still able to like shoot it that way for the most part. But there were a lot of other conflicts, and ultimately she was, you know, sort of fired from the trilogy project, as it were. She was not supposed to, like there wasn't a contract, but like she you know, it was expected that she was going to be like directing the whole trilogy, and then her and the screenwriter both kind of got unceremoniously ousted from the project. And there's a coin. Oh man, we've come so far. And the wind refuses to let Wander leave. So that's kind of my first angle, is like, okay, well, let's, you know, a bit of it is kind of like, it's like I kind of want to train my audience that it's like how to look for the redeeming elements in otherwise bad movies, and how to separate, like, okay, what is it about this that actually makes it bad? And so for 50 Shades, like the dialogue is just atrocious, and literally every change that the director and screenwriter were able to make is for the better. Like they improve whole scenes dramatically, and it's really funny actually, like just how bad the source material is. That there's a scene that is moved. It's still taken almost word for word from a much earlier scene. So it combines two scenes into one. One at the end of the book, one in like the middle of the book. And the fact that all of this dialogue from the middle of the book can just be like transplanted to the end, and it feels just as in place as anything else. And actually, like, by merging those two scenes, they actually managed to create something resembling an emotional climax to the complete and utter lack of a plot that is the first 50 Shades movie. But yeah. One of these, I don't remember which one. One of these ones has a coin on top of it, and I don't remember which one it is. But yeah, so that's kind of the first thing, and then the second thing is going to be shorter, but is going to be basically dunking on the Rotten Tomatoes mentality and the way that Rotten Tomatoes and that Rotten Tomatoes style thinking has pushed film criticism. That Rotten Tomatoes, like that their ranking system is specifically set up in order to polarize results. That the entire way that it works, the entire structure of it, is that, so you look at 50 Shades ranking on Rotten Tomatoes, which is, let's see what it currently is. I think it was like 25 if last time I checked, and it's 25%. So on the tomato meter, it's 25%. And the thing is that 50 Shades of Grey 2015, the film, is not a 25% movie. It's a 45% movie. You know, so like that's hence why it's a lukewarm defense. It's because like I'm not saying like, hey, this is actually a really good movie. I'm saying like this is not really the worst thing ever. It's just kind of mediocre. Like at the end of the day, it's just kind of mediocre. But like it's got its high points. It's also got a lot of low points, and the net outcome of that is that it's just a really kind of movie. But the way that Rotten Tomatoes is set up is it's set up to polarize that. That instead of 50 Shades ending up looking like a movie, it ends up looking like worst movie of the year. And that's their entire business model, is set up to create those kinds of conflicts. And they also are intentionally set up in order to foment conflict between the tomato meter score and the audience score. So the tomato meter score uses a normalized binary. So basically every review ends up being considered either fresh or rotten. And then from that binary, you get all of the professional reviews end up getting sorted just purely into the binary of fresh or rotten. And then the tomato meter score is, you know, back calculated from that. However, they also do keep track of a much more granular, like, average rating. It's in small print down below the giant tomato meter score that it's like, oh, well, the average rating is 4.2 out of 10. And then over on the other side, they have the audience score, which is a direct percentage. That it is a direct percentage based off of average rating out of 5. I think this is the one with the coin on top of it. This looks a lot more like the one that I think has the coin on top of it. Let's jump off anyway. Are we roughly where we want to be to get onto that? Yeah. I can't see where I'm going. Oh. I needed to pump a little bit more. All right. Is Rotten Tomatoes better or worse than Metacritic? Rotten Tomatoes is worse. So Metacritic does a straightforward, takes everybody's score and just remaps it to a percentage scale, rather than first measuring it out of a binary. So Metacritic is a lot more, as far as distilled results are gonna get, it's a good bit closer to an actual, overview of the consensus. Also, the way that they lay data out, that they actually then have immediately below their concatenated score, they have like, hey, look, here's the breakdown of where critics fell, in the positive, neutral, negative review bands. So it does at least try to help you get a sense of like what critics actually have to say about the thing, whereas Rotten Tomatoes is purely about creating this conflict narrative in the wider discussion of art and cinema. So Rotten Tomatoes is actually it's kind of poisonous for it's kind of poisonous for film criticism. So Metacritic's big problem when it comes to... So Metacritic handles a lot more stuff. Metacritic handles basically anything that people rate, which does include, of course, video games. So it has video games, it also has movies. A lot of people think of it first and foremost as like the video game version of Rotten Tomatoes, but they do movies as well. And yeah, the problem with video game reviews, or with concatenating video game reviews, is in fact video game reviews themselves. That's definitely a problem. But at least in that case, it's kind of a consistent problem, in that you can look at the perceived consensus on Metacritic, and then just run that through your how do people rate video games filter. So yeah. There was another point that I had to make about Rotten Tomatoes and how it pushes stuff, and what was the other point that I wanted to make? I don't remember. What was the point that I wanted to make? So one of the things that ends up happening with Rotten Tomatoes in particular is that the only movies that actually end up with like accurate rankings are ones where there is in fact already overwhelmingly polarized consensus. So like if there is in fact a movie that everybody absolutely loves, you know, you'll get a like appropriately really high score, or a movie that like is actually just totally awful, then you'll get an accurately like low score. But it will, generally speaking, push things far more to the extreme. So one of the common things that will end up happening is you'll end up with a like certified fresh movie that is ultimately just kind of okay. So like a lot of like people point to, like, you know, they blame this on critics, but really it's the fault of Rotten Tomatoes. Is that Rotten Tomatoes creates the perception that like every single Marvel movie has been a like just huge critical darling, that like everybody has loved it, when really there's a whole lot of them that the actual critical consensus is, yeah, it's pretty okay. You probably won't regret, you know, going and seeing it. It's all right. It's all right. But because every single critic has an opinion that's like, this is a solid, you know, 3.5 out of 5. Because every single one of them is like, yeah, this is a 3.5 out of 5. You end up with like a 92% fresh rating that ends up pushing it from like, this is a decent film, into, oh my god, masterpiece. And so that's one of the things that ends up happening, and then you end up with other movies that are like highly polarizing. So movies like Mother that are, you know, like really well and truly either a you will love it or you will despise it kind of movie. That because they end up with those splits, they end up looking on the tomato meter like, oh yeah, it's, you know, a middle of the road film. So, yeah. So those are kind of the two different pillars of the 50 Shades video. So it will be talking a lot about the actual stuff, but. Or it will be talking a lot about the actual film, and we'll be doing a whole lot of comparisons to the movies and stuff like that. So it'll be fun. It is a little bit clickbaity. I'm not gonna lie. It's a little bit clickbaity. Do you have a preferred movie rating site? If I want to check out consensus, so like if I want to go somewhere where there are aggregated reviews, I usually go to Metacritic, just because their layout is better. It's easier to get a quick look at like what people actually think about it, and then I can click through to a bunch of other specific stuff. But like honestly, since Roger Ebert died, I haven't consistently read published critics at all. Like, I mean, I read them kind of when they go across my radar. Like, you know, I'll check out a lot of the stuff on AV Club a bunch of the times because I like a bunch of their writers, but like no one. Ebert, I would read all of his reviews regardless of whether or not I intended on actually like seeing any of the movies. Like, it was my thing on like Friday, is that I would, you know, it's like, okay, Friday morning, Ebert's reviews are up. Let's sit and read them. You know, all of them for movies I'd never heard of, and that was kind of my thing. And then no one's really grabbed me like that consistently. Someone mentioned Christopher Orr. Like, yeah, I really like his stuff. Like, his stuff's pretty consistent, but and I think part of it is just that like my schedule has changed and a bunch of other things have changed. So it's not just that like, oh, Ebert died, end of story. And because also given sort of my profile on the internet, and a lot of the people that like I follow and that I'm friends with and that I talk with and that follow me is that these days a lot of my sort of pre-consensus or perceived consensus on a film comes from my friends because they're all film critics too, or at least like avid film watchers. And also a lot of them live out in New York, so they actually get to see movies like long before I get to. And yeah, I mean, and there's times that like, I mean, I've heavily disagreed with them, and there's a bunch of stuff that like, you know, I'll see that they won't see. And then also kind of the third contributing factor is that increasingly it's like, well, I don't really read other people's reviews at all because I'm going to essentially construct my own, even though I don't do nearly enough vlogs or constructed specific reviews. But, you know, it's like, okay, well, I'm not going to read someone else's review. I'm going to go see the movie, and then I'm going to tweet about it. And that'll be my review. So, do you ever consider writing more conventional reviews? I really should. I probably actually really should, but I don't. If I could figure out how to get into the press screenings around here, if I did that, then I probably would, you know, actually like have a consistent, like a lot more consistent, like, all right, here's a movie that's out. I mean, kind of like what Film Brain does. You know, his same sort of style that it's like, all right, you know, we're a review column, but we're video format, and I would add that into the things that I do as a more sort of conventional hey, what's coming out this weekend style review. But the thing is that the way that I go about doing stuff, like I need to be able to take notes. And this is always kind of the funny thing. So like, okay, I was literally the only person in 50 Shades Free this afternoon, and I still had people on Twitter being like, you're tweeting in a movie theater, as though it's like the single worst crime you can ever do. And I'm like, look, man, it's empty. I am the only person here. It's the principle of the thing. And I'm like, no, it's not. it's a movie. I have a great confidence in my audience's ability to read a social situation and to be able to tell if like, hey, is right now an appropriate time for me to pull out my phone and start tweeting in this movie. And so if you get into a press screening, if you're in a press screening with a bunch of other critics and press and reviewers, then, you know, everybody's got their light up pen, everybody's got their little lamp, everybody's got a laptop, everybody's got their phone out, and it's just like, look, we're here, yes, we're here to watch a movie, but we're also here to do a job, and our job probably is going to rely on notes, and you got to take notes in a dark space. So, hey, deal with it. But since everybody's doing it, it's like, all right, it's fine. Like, yeah, this is what we do. Like, if you're taking notes, you're gonna need a light or a screen or something. Just turn the brightness all the way down, kind of stuff. Like, I don't know. So if I got in on those where I could, you know, take my notes without feeling like an asshole or being told that I'm like the worst person ever on Twitter, then yeah. This is actually why, like, this is actually why a lot of my vlogs end up being so chaotic, is that I'll have to like take notes on the sly on my phone. Like I'll slink all the way down in order to like just quickly type out like 3 words into my phone's notepad in order to like, it's like, okay, this will remind me later. And yeah. Like, I mean, the Book of Henry one, like my long form review of that was assisted so much by the fact that like I mean, there were other people in the theater, but they were all sitting in front of me, so I just went in the back row, and I tweeted through half that movie. And yeah, like my long form review was ultimately helped a lot by the fact that I could go back and look at my like instantaneous reactions. What's clown? What did everyone think of Ida? I don't really have, my brain's starting to melt with, I mean, we are at like 1 in the morning, my time. Nothing's coming to me. It's not striking a chord at all. Sorry, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what Ida you're talking about. But yeah. Ida was about a nun who discovers that she's a Jewish orphan whose parents were killed in the Shoah. I don't even know what movie you're talking about. I don't know that one. Ida film. I need to. Oh. Oh, that's a Polakowski. That's okay. 2013. Okay. All right. Now that I'm looking at the poster. Now that I'm looking at the poster, it's striking a chord. I didn't see it. I have very little memory of it, and I didn't see it at the time. But I do remember it coming out now. But that's about it. Unfortunately. Yeah. All right. It's 1 a.m. That went well. We had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun. That was fun. I'm going to go to bed now because I need to get up in the morning and write about 50 Shades for 8 hours. So, yeah. Thanks, everybody, for coming out and hanging out, and I had a lot of fun with this little Q&A at the end and giving you all a preview of what's coming up. I hope you all have a good day, good night, and on behalf of me and Amy and everyone else on the Folding Ideas / Charles T. Sadboy / Speedrun Learning Curve team, which would be Crystal, who is not here, on behalf of all of us, say goodnight to your pets, and we will see you all on Monday. Take care.